Right guys, another Lidl conversion, the Lidl XL glider. This time I'm going to try and make a Me163 Komet. Let's see how this goes. So first off, I've taken a section out the middle of the wing, and that's going to give me the V-shaped wing. I'll stick that together with hot glue and then a couple of spars of 2.5mm carbon cutting the underside to brace that. So I'll get that done and a jump cut and I'll be right back. Right, spars in and glued, hot glued, pretty strong already. Next step is to flatten the wing, take the dihedral out. I simply do this by bending it and then a good bit of packing tape. Applied like so. Bring it down to the dihedral, hold it flat, lay it on. As you can see, I hope, flat wing. I'll add a couple more layers on that, give it good strength, and then I'll add two carbon spars here and here across where the dihedral was, which will absolutely lock it solid. Okay, to put the carbon spars in, I'm actually running quite low on carbon spars, so these are going to be quite short. So I'll just run them along. Make a slice, watching your fingers of course, always use a sharp knife. I just run it in the groove to open the groove up. And bed that in, and then that gets a bead of super glue. And then I just flex it slightly just to let it get inside and work its way down the side of the spar. So I'll just do those and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's the spars in, CA'd, I've given that 5 minutes to dry. So next step is the ailerons, or elevons in this case. So I've decided to go 8 inches. Oh, wrong way round, 8 inches by 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. So the way I do that is I cut through like so, and I transfer that onto the back with a couple of dots, and then I will cut through gently as not to go all the way through the top skin of the foam. Okay, so then you fold it, and then with a very sharp knife you can take that bevel off at about 45 degrees. That enables your aileron to fold down as well as up, and you haven't broken the skin on the top of the foam. And then so it doesn't snag there, just take a millimetre or so, little slither which takes off your silver line as well, and there you have a perfectly operating elevon. So I'll just do the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's the ailerons cut, and the wing into the body. It's a bit of a squeeze because it's a slightly different profile now, but just work it a little bit front, a little bit back, get it in, and then just check on something square that you got the same sweep on either side. You can line it up to something square, or you can just do it by eye. And by eye, I think you'll agree that's pretty close. I have double checked, and we've got about an 11.5 inch sweep on there. So now for the brave part of cutting off the tail. So, good sharp knife, and I think we're going to go about there. No going back now. Boom. We are now committed, as they would say. So I'm going to take this tail section off, and that's going to go on there. Now I'm aware this may need some weight, so if that comes to it, I'll just introduce something weight, small bolt or screw in the back to get the weight that off. I like to start with a bit more than I need, and then we can work our way down. So that looks pretty good. Maybe a little less at the front. So bear in mind I'm making this up as we go along, so I think that looks pretty good. So we'll just mark where that goes. And I'll cut a flat shelf for that to sit on. So I'll do that off camera because it's a little fiddly and I want to get this one right. So I'll be right back. Right, through the magic of television or YouTube even. So I've taken off a flat shelf there, little slither, a couple of little shavings to get it nice and flat, and that is going to sit on there like so. I think that looks pretty good so far. Okay, so there's a tail section prepped, a couple of rods of carbon, a couple of holes. That should slot in there nicely, and then just make sure everything's lined up and you're happy with that, because once you hit that with the hot glue, you'll kind of, that's what you got. So I think the next stage is going to be open up the fuselage, make some space for the battery. So as with the other ones, nice sharp knife, and just cut your way in, cut into cubes, and then pull it out with some pliers. Okay, so that's the fuse hollowed out, a little crude but big enough to take a 1003S. I'll see how the CG works out. Might get away with the 1300 in there, but I'll try and base it on 1000 to start with. So okay, that's done. What I like to do after that is get a couple of lollipop sticks, because I've learnt this with the other models, that because all the strength's now taken out of this, if you do have a bit of a nose dive, they are prone to snapping at the front. Okay, so regular ice lolly stick, hot glued in there, There's quite a big difference to the strength at the front. So that takes a battery. And what I find sometimes is that the lid doesn't quite want to go on. So if you remove a bit of material from the inside of the lid, same fashion, just clean that out a little bit. Find your lid will go down lovely then. Okay, so there's the servos fitted. Basically, place them where you want them. I just draw around them with a pen. Take the craft knife, cut a pocket, and just pluck it out. As you can see, they go in nice and tight and flush with the top. Now you could hot glue them in if you wanted to. I tend to just put a piece of tape over, and then you get a set of stickers with this kit. And if you put the stickers over, as I did on this one, that's more than enough to hold the servos in and makes life easier if you ever want to get it back out again. So, you may have spotted, I've actually run out of control horns, so I just used a spare servo arm as a control horn there, and that's just held in with a bit of glue. Plenty good enough. Not ideal, but good enough. Okay, so as you can see, the servos are in. Made up the linkages. I just added a little drop of hot glue around there just to reinforce those, as they're not proper control horns. As you can see, there's a miler throw on there. So happy with that. On to the next stage, which is going to be mounting the motor. And for this one I'm going for a Racer Star. It's a BR 2205 and it's a 2300 kV. So basically I'm going to take the nose off. I'm going to use an X mount like so, and then that's going to get mounted on the front of there. So I'll come back to you again. Okay, so there's the motor mounted. Used a cross mount, a little smear of contact adhesive on the face of the foam, some bolts in there. I had to extend the wires to put the ESC further back just to help with the CG. Extended the power wires, have gone into the cabin. That's all secured with a couple of cable ties. To get CG, I actually had to take a little bit of the tail I'd cut off, about 1 inch, and I just extended what I'd previously cut to give me a little bit of extra length, and then I took the bolt, which you get, free bolt with the kit, and I just made a hole with a soldering iron and screwed the bolt in. Now what is good about that is it's actually handy to adjust your CG with. Little turn of that. This is, so once I've found CG and where she flies nicely, I use the nose that I cut off, hollow that out, and that will go over there, trimmed down to hide the bolt and pretty up the finish. So all the cables are in, through the side into the cabin, everything's ready to go. Aileron's working. Oh, quite a bit of thrust there. Good way of doing the dusting. So all that's yet to do now is to go and give her a chuck. If this has been any use to you guys, put a thumbs up there. Apparently it helps other people find the video, so I'll charge the battery up and go and give her a throw. Alright, thanks for watching. Okay guys, it's the next day. I went for a couple of test throws and then remembered, as it's a wing, I needed some reflex on the back of the wing. So I had an addition of, I've just cut slices at the back of the wing there, and then just introduced some slits of lollipop stick just to hold that. I'll experiment with that, so I'm not gluing it, it sits tight, just to add a bit of reflex. And I found she was a bit nose heavy, so I've opened the bay a little bit more just to enable the battery to go backwards. Just put a spare bit of foam in to keep it back. So I'll go and give her another throw today, and fingers crossed she should go a bit better. Alright, thank you for watching. Second flight with the Lidl Me163. Who knows, anything could happen.